Hello, it's the Curious Low back with another video, and today we are going to be talking about Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 5, Eastwatch. As always, I'm going to start off with the plot lines that I believe moved forward the least, and then make my way up to the plot line that I believe moved forward the most and had the most to say and the most interesting things, which is getting harder and harder. I might not be able to continue that in the future because we're getting more and more people within the same plot lines and just more of the cast is coming together. So I might retire that at some point, but as of right now, I do still have a few separate plot lines, so we'll continue it for now. Starting off at the bottom is Sam and Gilly in Old Town now. Gilly drops the MVP, megaton bomb in this episode. Crazy, fans are freaking out. I'm sure you've already seen it. If you haven't, we'll get to it in just a second, but I want to address freaking Professor Slughorn, who is just really not listening to Sam, even though Sam speaketh the truth when they got that raven from Bran, and he gives them a beautiful way that they can solve their problems and unite Westeros, and they're just like, oh, but maybe it's not true, and burr. Basically, they're being super dumb, and the Maesters are stupid, and yeah. Oh, also, they didn't tell Sam that his dad and brother were dead, so I'm sure that will come about a little bit later as they have left Old Town in the Citadel. Obviously, the biggest thing here was that Gilly just nonchalantly was like, oh, Rhaegar got an annulment and then remarried, at the exact same time. Crazy. It's amazing. It proves that Jon is an actual Targaryen, and yes, this is a huge plot point that they've dropped on us, but so much happened in this episode that it could not be the top, and just from one little line, and it doesn't actually change anything about the plot. It changes what we as an audience know, but as of right now, it doesn't actually change anything about what the characters know and if it will actually even affect Jon at all. So as cool as it was, as a little bit fan servicey, although I don't think it was bad fan service. I think that it was a nod to the fans, which I think is great. It's something that's been alluded to in the books and show for forever, so it's great, but it didn't actually move the plot forward at all. I do want to touch on the fact that this does explain definitively, even though people have always thought that this was the case, why there were Kingsguard at the Tower of Joy, because Jon is the best claim to the throne. He was the new king before Robert took the throne. So really, Robert took the throne from Jon Snow, which is crazy. Or Jon Targaryen, or gosh, that's probably not even his real first name. Whatever his name is, Targaryen. He was the actual king. He was the one who the throne had passed to, as his father and his grandfather were both dead at the point that Ned goes to the Tower of Joy. So it brings so much to the table and so many cool things, but again, it doesn't actually do anything to the characters because none of them know, because Sam was going off about how frustrated he was. If only he had listened to Gilly as she talked about his 15,782 shits, or however many it was. I do have a couple questions about this. I really wonder if Sam is going to be returning to Winterfell, if he's going to find out about his family on the way home, and if that will cause butting of heads with Dany, if he's even going to care about Dany. I mean, his parents, well, not his parents, his dad was kind of a dick. His brother, I'm sure he would be sad about, because it never seemed like Dickon was a dick to him. Alright, let's move on to Winterfell, where Bran had a really cool sequence of working in and out of a bunch of ravens. It incited everything that happened at the Citadel, but that's basically all that Bran did. It's obviously very important information going forward with Jon going beyond the wall, but I'm just going to kind of gloss over that. The most important thing that was happening at Winterfell was all the sketchiness between Arya and Littlefinger and Sansa, and it's a big ball of drama that I really hope they don't follow the path of. I hope that this is leading to, and I think it's leading to, Littlefinger finally meeting his demise. Whether that actually means his demise is in death or at least imprisonment, I think he would be executed, though, I'm sure, especially by Jon for killing Ned and just all the other shit that he's done. But I hope that that's more where this is leading, that Littlefinger is trying to worm his way between Sansa and Arya with the letter that she wrote begging for Robb to come south. I don't think that Arya is going to fall for it. I really hope, even if she does kind of fall for it, I hope that everybody is just rational, like I think the Starks are, especially now that they're all mature, at least young adults or maybe old teenagers. I'm not actually sure how old Arya and Bran are, but they're much older now than they were when they were children. So I have faith that they will not just start squabbling amongst themselves, and that Arya's going to be like, hey Sansa, WTF up with this? And she'll be like, oh my gosh, Cersei forced me to do that. It was crazy. I hope that's all that happens. And then I hope that they come together as siblings. Maybe not Bran because he's being weird, but at least Arya and Sansa can come together and take down Littlefinger. And maybe even with Bran's help, because Bran knows everything. He already kind of threatened Littlefinger, although I don't think on purpose, by saying the chaos is a ladder line. We'll see. I really hope that Littlefinger is going to be his demise. I love his character, don't get me wrong, but I feel like his character's conclusion is coming to its end. I think that it needs to be done and move on. All right, I don't even know what to call this last plotline because everything is so intermingled and it's happening in so many different places that, of course, this whole thing with everything that's happening at King's Landing and with Dany and then at Dragonstone and then back at King's Landing and then up at Eastwatch, it's all one kind of continuous domino, so I'm just going to start at the beginning and work my way to the end of the episode. First off, Jaime and Bronn are alive, which makes me really happy, but I did predict that, or at least that's what I thought would happen. I'm really glad that that is what happened. I did not want to see another hostage situation with Jaime. We already had multiple seasons of him being captured and making his way back with Brienne. It's a done story. I think that his story is with Cersei and what's happening with that, which is weird, but we'll get to that in a minute. Dany straight burned some bitches, and I know a lot of people, including myself, have been like, oh, Dany's gonna go crazy. Dany's gonna be just like her father. Which, yes, I still think that, and this has a lot of parallels to what he did and also what Aegon the Conqueror did with killing off the family that was in charge of the Reach, which is very interesting, and then also with burning a father and son, like he did with the Starks. So it's a lot of parallels here, but I really, really hated Tarly father. What's his name? Randall Tarly? I don't think that Sam will be upset about that, like I said. I think that he might be upset about his brother, but, like, his dad was a dick. It is interesting if Tyrion will end up, like, maybe breaking from Dany, especially with the conversation they had later with Varys, and them talking about, like, oh, you know, it's not my decisions, it's Dany's, but, like, they're supporting her, and they need to really think about if their support is warranted, or at least if they need to be giving harsher counsel to her and not just going along with everything that she wants to do. We did have Jon meeting Drogon and, like, petting him, and it would, like, everything was fine, which was crazy. And I love the whole, like, my children are dragons, like, beautiful wasn't the word I was looking for, or whatever that was. The most important thing that happened in that sequence is that Jorah is back and immediately is leaving again. But at least he's back in the good graces of Dany. I mean, I guess he was before, but it was more of like a go find the cure and then you can come back. But, like, he's back and he is leaving of his own accord now, as opposed to just leaving because he's sick or leaving because she banished him, like however many times that happened. And along with him leaving, we have this weird new elaborate plan that we're going to try and bring a White back to Cersei. I get it, but I feel like it's not going to happen. I don't know what's going to go wrong with it. Maybe something will go wrong in the next episode. Maybe Cersei will just kind of agree for a moment and then be like, fuck that, I'm going to attack Dany while she's, you know, not ready or something. I don't think that Cersei is going to survive to see the big battle with the White Walkers. But to that end, everybody sneaks into King's Landing. We get an amazing sequence between Tyrion and Jaime. But I'm much more excited about the sequence between Davos and Gendry. And Gendry is back, and they made that funny little meta joke. That was fan service. Fan service that maybe some people were annoyed with, but I loved the, like, I expected you to still be rowing. Like, so funny. Oh, so great. I love that Gendry's back. I love that he's using a warhammer, just like his father. This brings in a whole new thing. I mean, like, as much as I was always like, oh, I hope Gendry comes back someday, like, I never really thought it would happen. Now that he is back, that's a whole nother person that has a claim to the Iron Throne. Obviously, it's from the usurper's line, but, like, that's somebody who could rise up, like, a, you know, legitimized bastard. Like, that's not hard. Like, that could be somebody who maybe wants to rule where Jon doesn't, and maybe they'll rule together. I don't know. Speaking of Gendry, I am so upset that not only are we not getting a Jon and Arya reunion before they go off to Dangerland, where one or both of them may die, we aren't getting a Gendry reunion with Arya. Those two characters that are extremely important to Arya, and nothing. We're just not even gonna... I swear, if either of them die, especially if both of them die, I will be so pissed because I need that reunion with Arya. Like I said in last week's recap, I'm okay with people dying. It's Game of Thrones, it happens, but I just... My one true want in this world of, at least in the world of Game of Thrones, is that all of the Starks will be together for just one last moment, and then they can all disperse, and some of them can die or leave or whatever's going to happen, get maimed, just as long as we have this, like, Stark reunion and then everybody goes away. But, of course, darn author of these books, Mr. Martin, does not like to give us what we want, so me wanting that so bad is probably a sign that at least one of these people is going to die next episode. I don't even want to talk about Cersei anymore. Like, ugh, she just annoys me so much. It's gone so far past the, ooh, she's so bad, but we, like, love to hate her sort of a thing, to just, like, it's not even that she's so bad anymore. I'm just so done with her. I feel like her plotline is doing nothing. I feel like she's just sitting in the castle. Like, she's not scheming anymore. She just kind of, like, sits around. I mean, I guess she is scheming with Qyburn, but, like, who the hell cares about them? I don't. I personally think she's lying about being pregnant. I don't think it serves any purpose other than to manipulate Jaime, I guess. Personally, I hope she dies soon. And I guess it won't matter if she's pregnant or not. But the prediction that happened back in, what was that, the beginning of season 4, 5, 3? Beginning of some season, where we had that prediction that Maggie the Frog made about her only having 3 children, and she's even mentioned it since then. I doubt that this child, if it is an actual pregnancy, would be born, so it might as well be fake. I mean, I guess it could be a little bit more sad if Jaime ends up killing Cersei, and he knows that she's pregnant with his child, or, you know, like, that's a little bit more, I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. She's dumb and I hate her. And moving on to next week, we have the crazy, amazing group. I loved them all coming together. I think it's a really, really interesting group, and I was speaking with some of my friends this last week, just talking about how did this group of people come together? Like, watching from the beginning, or if you read the books, even years before the show came along, like, who would have thought that this group of people would come together and be all on the same side and going off on, like, some epic quest together? It's the weirdest group of people. Some people that have been good guys since the beginning, some people that have been bad guys from the beginning that have sort of become good guys, some people that I'm not even really confident are good guys, but just, oh, it's such a weird and twisted amalgamation of people, and, like, a lot of them have, like, beef with each other, but just them laying it all aside for the greater good, I think is awesome. I'm so excited for next week's episode. I am positive somebody is going to die of that 7 people. Probably more than one somebody's is going to die. I mean, me, personally, I would prefer that it would be like Thoros and Beric Dondarrion, because they're the people that I care least about. Me, as somebody who enjoys good storytelling, and not just the fangirl that I am, understands that only killing off the red shirts, only killing off the least important characters, the characters that have kind of the least backstory and stuff like that we've spent the least time with, is not what's going to happen with this show. God, I hope it's not Jon. Like, I just really hope it's not Jon. I really want all of the shit that we've been going through with him coming back to life. Like, what is the point of him coming back to life if he doesn't at least make it to the end of the story? I can understand him dying then, but if he doesn't make it all the way to the end of the story, I feel like there's no point to him coming back to life. And obviously, yeah, like, he helped take back Winterfell, but, like, Sansa could have gotten that shit done. She could have. I don't know. Jon just, it doesn't make sense to me. Could be bad writing. Who knows? But I really hope Jon doesn't die. That's, like, the one that I'm like, no! Alright, guys, what did you think of this episode? I'm recording this a little bit earlier in the week than I typically do, because next week's episode has leaked, and I kind of want to watch it, and I don't want it to spoil my review of this past episode. So, what are your theories about the next episode, which is called Beyond the Wall? And what do you think is going to happen? Let me know down in the comments below. Talk to me over on Twitter, and I will see you guys next week for another Game of Thrones review. Talk to you later. Bye!